Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Tara, and we are going to talk about the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, Part 2, Episode 1. It's called Chapter 12, The Epiphany. So, full spoilers for the episode, and that was a long-ass title to read out. And Netflix are being weird again with this Part 2 instead of Season 2 nonsense. I don't know what to think of it. It's weird.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
It's completely new territory for me.
Yeah, speaking of new territory, Tara was not on season 1. In fact, Connor was here last season, and he's morphed. There's been a witchy magic spell has happened, and Tara has appeared in his stead. Basically, Connor, if you watch the reviews of season 1, you'll know Connor wasn't that enthusiastic about it in the grand scheme of things, and we were very busy getting into season 2 in terms of other shows we're covering. So I suggested that he just opt out. And then I was going to do this on my own, and then Tara, who's been recording other stuff with me, said, "I'll do it." And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, I was into season 1, so I was planning on watching season 2 anyway.
And I'm actually glad. Do you know what? It just so happens that the first episode of season 2, I'm actually really happy you're here, because this episode is almost entirely the themes of this episode are about gender inequality, and I feel like having a woman here is probably actually a very good
I'm kind of
perspective
an
to
expert on
have.
being a woman, so yeah, anything you need to know.
Yeah, I got all the juicy secrets. So yeah, so the episode is Sabrina is first of all, we get the old intro sequence of the old TV show, The Mirror, where she's like changing her outfits.
I loved it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I love that part. It was a pretty little adorable homage to the original show.
yeah, we do. We actually have that scene where she just starts doing it, and I'm like, "Whoa, they're doing it!" That was kind of fun. But yeah, so the plot of this episode is that Sabrina is running for top boy, and top boy is kind of like the class president who works under, Blackwood, High Priest Blackwood, and it's always a guy. It's always a man, and it's actually Nicholas, who I was accidentally calling Nathan a lot last season. And what's funny is I think in another review recently, I was trying to reference him, and I think me and Connor said, I think his name's Nathan, but you accidentally called him Nicholas. It turns out I think it's the other way around. He's Nicholas, but I was accidentally calling him Nathan. Look, guys, just go with it. It's fine. But he's nominated, and everyone's they're at assembly. He's nominated, and everyone's like, "Yes, yes, Nicholas," and no opposers. And then so you can just see Sabrina's eyes just working and being like, "Excuse me, can anyone volunteer? Can anyone throw their name in the hat?" And he's like, "Well, traditionally, it's a male who does this." And he's like, "Yeah, but that's not like a hard rule, right? Like that's just like how it's happened, like for the centuries that this has been in operation." And he's like, "Oh, well, fine, I guess. We shall recognise Sabrina Spellman, I suppose." And the episodes, basically, they have to compete in this series of challenges, and she's at every turn goes up against some form of the patriarchy getting in her way or trying to, stumble her process. And at one point, she even dares says that she one day wants to be High Priestess, which has never existed. It's always been High Priest. And that's very much the gist of the episode. What did you think of the episode? What did you think of this main plot?
I liked it a lot better than the last episode, which was kind of like a tease for season 2. The Christmas episode or something that we got, that one was a bit confusing.
Yeah, that was easily one of the worst episodes, if not the worst. And you know what's weird, actually? Season 2 only has 9 episodes, so in a way that was kind of taken from the episode numbers of this season.
Huh.
So we got a 10, we got a 1, then we have a 9.
Yeah. This one was pretty good. It was it had a clear message of women challenging the patriarchy for both her story and then the story that's going on in the mortal realm.
Yeah, Baxter High.
Baxter High, yeah. Which is not I tend to like the stuff that happens in the witch school a little bit more. Of course, it's going to be more interesting. But overall, it was pretty good. Like the message was clear, and I enjoyed all the trials that she had to go through as well. Those are pretty fun to watch. Overall, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I like this one for the most part as well. I think the trials themselves were mostly kind of fun. And I think what made it work is that each one was kind of staged. It was always in front of people. It was always kind of this battle of public opinion. And it was, because even when she tries to say to Zelda, "Hey, I've put my name in for Top Boy," Zelda being part of the system, kind of like, "Oh, what? This may be a man. Don't rock the boat, Sabrina. What are you doing?"
Yeah, she's always been more of like, I don't know if conservative is the right word, but even between in the family of the Spellmans, like she's the very traditional witch, where the laws of their world have been established for decades, and they've worked so far. So why challenge them now?
Whereas Hilda's like, no, your mortal friends are important. You should go see your mortal friends and don't lose that part of your humanity. But no, I like that side of it, because it was this constant fighting. Because I think I was a little bit worried at the end of season 1 when she signed the book, and she got the new hair, and it felt like she was walking around with the weird sisters. I was like, oh, is she going to completely lose her personality? Is she going to be this evil person for a while until she's fixed, or till she, something snaps her out of it? And it isn't quite like that. There's still enough of her in there.
No, I actually think that they were sort of leaning into that in the beginning, because they really did set that up at the end because she was just hanging out with Prudence a lot, and there's a lot more respect with Sabrina after she signed the book. She seemed to be in their little clique, and they were kind of leading into that in this episode, because she started yelling at Ambrose, and everyone was getting afraid. The house was shaking at some point. And I thought that was the direction that they were going. But when she actually has that conversation with Hilda as to why she's avoiding her mortal friends at Baxter High, the answer is actually quite sweet and understandable. She just doesn't want to be around there, because she knows at any moment that the Dark Lord can call upon her, and she doesn't want to be there in case she hurts her friends, or she just doesn't want them to see that side of her.
Yeah. And I think what I like about that as well is that it doesn't just sound like he's going to call on her randomly a lot. It sounds like it's one big thing that he's building up to. Like there's going to be one big thing that he's put in place for. And I think going back to this idea of the patriarchy, and the idea of her being in this system there where she's kind of basically suppressed, is the whole idea of this promise to the Dark Lord having to sign the name in the book is like saying you're entering into this world where one day you're going to be called upon for your purpose, because this is what your purpose was always going to be. And this show ultimately has always been since the start about her challenging those ideals. It's like, no, I don't have to be what you tell me I am. I can be this and that. I can be half mortal. I can be half witch. I can be, and all of it is an allegory for challenging the system. It's all an allegory for inequality. More often than not, gender inequality, because of who the character is. But
but this episode in particular is very on the nose about that.
Oh, it's very on the nose. Yeah, especially since the Baxter High plot was also. I mean, sure, there's obviously the trans element to that as well, but it was still very much a girl on the basketball team. What?
Sure.
Yeah,
we had to go through that at my high school. Like a female wanted to join the football team, and it was just a big hubbub. It made like the local paper and stuff when they were challenging it. And I know I'm older than you, but not that much older. It wasn't that long ago where it was a big deal. And something good came from it, because now, or at least then, she was a kicker.
I didn't crack any jokes about your age, so you brought it up.
I'm beating you to the punchline. I've done a few of these with you. I know how it works.
I am appalled at that accusation. Shocked and appalled. How dare
I have
you?
video evidence.
No, you don't.
You can find them all on Miles Buzz TV.
Those videos can be erased. So we have these things, and the Prudence basically is talked down from Blackwood at one point about, because he's like, oh, can I take the Blackwood name, because I'm your daughter. And he's like, well, technically yes. And like, technically yes, technically I'm your daughter. Which, by the way, that reminded me of my favourite line of dialogue from season 1. It's when you find out that she's his daughter, and then the other weird sister's like, wait, am I your daughter too? And he goes, don't be ridiculous, you're just an orphan.
Yeah, that was a standout for sure.
Oh, I love that line. So she helps her cheat in the first one. She's got all the answers, and Even though she did cheat, there is kind of this element of like he just assumes she's cheating because she's doing so well. It's this idea that oh, if a woman's doing well, she must be cheating. She can't just be doing this, genuinely.
Yeah, but she also did cheat.
I mean, she did, but
Well, it was supposed to be like she was cheating because she was also being oppressed at the same time. Like somebody had summoned demons in order to prevent her from being able to study. At least that's what we think in the beginning. So it at first it seemed like she was cheating in order to even the playing field for that reason.
yeah. And then she loses the second one, but it does this almost gladiator-esque thing where she wins the crowd. Because she just says, because it's like they're making this potion and then the first person who ruins it has to drink it. And because she just has the guts to do it, she just goes for it. Like the crowd start cheering for her. And it's
they're doing the chug, chug, chug.
Public favor. She's won the public favor, and that's important. And then eventually she works with Nicholas to summon the demons at the end, and we find out that no one summoned them. It was just demons are taking it upon themselves, that they're taking the initiative to come after Sabrina because of what she represents and because
she's a threat. Yeah,
perhaps what the Dark Lord's got planned for her. Which Wardwell also was talking to the Dark Lord at the end. She calls him to, hey, Sabrina's more important to you than you've been letting on.
Yeah, that was an interesting little setup.
Yeah.
Which I didn't think Wardwell would be able to like confront the Dark Lord, because season 1 she seemed very afraid of him. So this like confrontational side is an interesting setup for the new season.
I think she realizes, like, I think we've always had the sense that Sabrina's really important to him, and I think she's realizing that now. I think she's almost challenging out of like desperation partly, I guess, but also out of maybe like almost a show of strength. Like, here's why you shouldn't replace me. Here's why I should still be on your team, because
Okay, so you think she's just threatened by Sabrina in her placement?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that. One of the things I liked is that Zelda, as much as she does kind of add to the system throughout the episode, she does have that one little moment of defiance with Blackwood, where because one of the other witches says something like, what was the insult? It wasn't hussy. It was something like that though.
Yeah, it's a bit of a homewrecker line.
Yeah. And he's like, you don't care what people think. And he's like, no, I don't care what anyone thinks. But I think, I think until we're ready to make this official, there'll be no more, sneaking around. Professional. But it's very much a power play moment. Arguably in the traditional way that you expect the dynamics to go. And there's dogs now invading this show.
I knew that was going to happen. The cat's been poking at her.
But I like that scene because even in Zelda's own little way, she kind of says, "No, you aren't going to just like call the shots here."
She says, "No, my reputation is at stake here," and decides to stop it. Like, she has control of that, and it is a really powerful scene, especially because we know from season 1 that what's his name, Blackwood,
yeah.
Blackwood. I always forget the names. That Blackwood is a weakness for her, and when she stands up to him like that, it is a pretty powerful moment for her character.
Yeah, and again, it ties into the themes of the episode where everything's about challenging the patriarchy, and we see that ridiculous scene where they go to that club, the Dorian Gray's room, it's called, and it's a gentleman's club, no women allowed except the stripper, of course, because obviously.
That was a strange scene. I thought maybe it was like a spell, like she was putting a spell on them, but no, she was just a belly dancer.
Yeah. But they give Nicholas like a blow-up doll that's made to look like Sabrina, and I thought, this is dark even for this show.
Yeah, it was like just her head.
Yeah, it was like a blow-up doll head, like as if it's been decapitated, but they gave it a wig to make it look like Sabrina, and I was like, this is really dark.
Yeah. And still at that time we think somebody has summoned these demons in order to stop her. Like, it seemed very I think it seemed a lot more sinister because of that being implanted in our brains. Like, we're trying to figure out who's the person who's trying to kill her, and then Blackwood comes out with a cake or whatever that is of the head of Sabrina, and we think, oh well, clearly it must be him then.
Yeah. So Ambrose ends up being top boy because Blackwood's pissed at both of the candidates, so he's like, Ambrose, now you're top boy.
Yeah, I don't know if I mean, okay, I accept, but I mean, they challenged it in the show too. Like, he's not even a student. Like, this is ridiculous. And I didn't really buy why he was making him top boy, but I guess so long as the characters don't either, then it's okay.
Yeah, it's really weird, but it is what it is. I mean, I think we complained a lot last season about like the rules of him leaving the house. Once he was allowed to leave the house to go to the academy,
Mhm.
like, is he allowed to go anywhere in between? Like there was a lot of murkiness to where he was allowed to go or not. It was weird. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I'm still
But
just disappointed that he's not a talking cat
yeah, yeah. I
with a
wish
really
someone was
maniacal
talking.
laugh.
I really wish he was, but it is what it is. But no, I mostly liked the main plot because it felt like it felt very focused. I liked how kind of tight it was in terms of everything kind of tied into its theme. Even the subplot at Baxter High, with Susie, who I mean now will be calling Theo because he finally kind of like says to his friends, "No, like I'm Theo now."
This is who I am. And that was a sweet scene also in the cafe, or was it the cafe afterwards that they were at
Yeah, Harvey's talking to
Miraz?
Roz. Yeah,
Yeah. That was a sweet scene. I liked how they were all like, yep, this is the next chapter of Theo's life, and we're all going to be here to support Theo.
now Roz gets a vision when she touches Harvey's hand of them kissing. I have to admit, this was the one thing in the episode where I kind of groaned and rolled my eyes and went, "Okay, sure."
Yeah, it's a little CW, huh?
Yeah, this is the CW like romance drama where now it's a love square. It can't just be a triangle; it has to be a square. This is basically like, okay, Harvey's away from Sabrina for a while. It's going to stay that way so she can like be with Nicholas. But like eventually we're going to come back round. Eventually we're going to have this thing where Sabrina and Harvey want to be together again, and Roz is going to
Yeah.
be mixed up on it now.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah,
And I really do like Harvey and Sabrina together. I thought they were one of the strongest. Their relationship was one of the strongest parts of season one as well. Like, I like seeing the two of them together. They had great chemistry. They're sweet, and
yeah, but sweet. That's what I would
when
say.
things
Sweet's the
started to
word I
go
use.
wrong with their relationship, I felt bad for them. And ultimately, yeah, they're going to be together. You're right. So it's just setting up this thing that kind of feels unnatural because Roz and Harvey have not had any kind of like chemistry, romantic chemistry before. I don't know. It seems like it's just something that is new and being written in for season two for the obvious reasons.
It's worth mentioning as well, Sabrina did come by to watch the basketball game, the tryouts, and did use a little magic mumbo jumbo to help out Theo. And I was like, okay, I like that she cares, I like that she showed up, and I like that she's taking this initiative. But I'm like,
Is she going to go to every game?
yeah, like Theo now is going to struggle because he's going to be like, oh, I can dunk a ball, I can make a basket, and like, no, you can't. I mean, maybe you will be
No.
able to after some practice, but right now you can't.
Yeah, yeah. Well, maybe they'll just write it off as beginner's luck, and
Because
now that Theo's on the team, they'll be able to work. I mean, that was the big hurdle, was just getting it on the team, right?
yeah, I certainly think a big part of the arc this season for Sabrina is going to be eventually coming back to her mortal friends and like wanting to be with them again. But at least right now she's like tempted to a couple of times and decides not to. She's at the basketball game and she decides to like just quickly leave and not be noticed. She sees them in the cafe towards the end. She's like, no, let's not go there, let's go somewhere else.
Hmm.
So
I still get the feeling that it's not about all of them. It's still mostly about Harvey, though.
that's fair. That's probably true. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, we'll see how it goes, I guess. But no, I mean that was basically the first episode. I mean I thought it was a pretty strong episode. I
Uh-huh.
think one of the things that I liked about this show last season is, unlike a lot of Netflix shows, each episode does feel pretty focused in what it's doing,
Mhm.
and keeps the overall kind of thing. You know, it feels like an episode. It doesn't feel like it's just part of the overall thing. It feels like obviously it's adding to the overall story, but it does have a beginning, middle, and end. It has a point in of itself by the
Mhm.
end of the episode, and I like that.
And it has a very unique style and look to it that doesn't it's not the only thing that it has going for it, you know. It's a really interesting world,
Mm.
and I enjoy even though like some of the episodes I've been pretty mediocre on, but like I still enjoy learning more about the world that they live in.
Yeah, I think the other thing is, last season there was a lot of talk about a certain blur effect at the side of the
Ooh,
image,
it's rough.
and
Yeah, it's like watching with like one contact missing.
Joe, what's funny about it is that for the first like 20 minutes there was none of it, and I thought, if they stopped doing it for season two, did they stop doing
Nope.
it? And then it got to one of those establishing shots, and it was back, and I was like, oh no, it's still here. Now, don't get me wrong, after the first couple of
It's so much
episodes,
better though.
yeah,
It's so much better than it was.
they toned it down after the first like half of the season last year, but still though, I mean, it's terrible. Every time it comes up, it's like, why are you doing this to
I
the
don't
image?
understand why this choice at all.
It's
It
very
just
weird. Very
it's
weird.
like you have something in your eye that you need to get out. Like it doesn't I don't know why they're going for this look. Like is it supposed to add something to it or uh, it's confusing. I don't know why.
But
I hope they just take it out.
and we won't complain
Because I
about
don't
this.
it's not something I'll miss and it's something I notice every time they bring it
Yeah.
back.
And it's not something we're going to complain about every episode, because much like last season, we would just be having the same complaint every episode. I just wanted to acknowledge that it's back,
It's
and that it's
there.
a continuing thing in season two.
Yeah.
So we'll cover the blur controversy
And
as we go on.
I did like the Susie Theo storyline this episode because I really didn't care about her storyline last season.
Mm.
The whole stuff with her was it her aunt
Yeah,
or
the
like
weird
some
like
kind of
and
family ghost that was coming back.
that was
Like
odd.
it kind of had a promising start and then just fizzled out. It really wasn't very interesting.
I think what was weird about that was that, or at least what I didn't like about it, not so much it was weird, but it was making everyone be connected in the past to something mystical. Like, so Theo has this past now where it's a line of mediums, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Harvey's got a lineage of witch hunters, and so Roz has got
Yeah, and it was all happening at the same time,
yeah, and
but
Roz of
everybody
course
else's storyline, like,
has the. I mean, she's like a medium. I'd say she's more the medium. Theo's more ghost whisperer, I guess. I don't.
I don't know. I
Uh,
actually don't really remember much of it.
but that's basically, yeah. They did all these things at the same time. It was like, okay, by the end of season one, everyone's got a family that goes back and
Yeah.
connects to everything, and it's like, okay, it's a bit too much, but
And this episode just gave her a grounded storyline that was about just her character becoming somebody who she's meant to be. And it's not spiritual or there's no ghost involved or magic involved
no, it's just
except for
it's just
Sabrina.
a natural story.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
this is and I like that a lot. Like I like that the worlds are kind of separated. That there's the witch world when she goes to her witching school and then her mortal high school world and she has to keep that separate.
Although, if you told me in any other show that we're going to have the main character juggle two high schools, I'd be like, oh god, that sounds like a nightmare. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. But it's actually not been too bad in that sense.
No, no. And I like that gosh, what's her name? Gomez? I always forget her name
Oh,
also.
Michelle. Oh,
Mary
Wardwell.
Wardwell. Yeah. Yeah. I always like her character. I like that she's the principal now and she's kind of doing the same thing for empowerment in the school by standing up to the other teachers or former teachers that they used to be her coworkers and now they have to treat her as a boss. You know, that's good too. I know she's evil. I know I'm not supposed to root for her, but I can't help it. She's a great character. She was great in season one. She was probably the best part of season one.
She's entertaining to watch. That's for sure.
Mhm.
Occasionally her American accent slips a little bit, but
Yeah, I don't notice it, but maybe I'm not really looking for it. And I'm not very good at accents, so.
Because every so often I hear just a little bit of the Scottish accent coming out at the end of a sentence, and I'm like, yeah. Because I'm looking at her, I'm like, why couldn't she just be Scottish? Like, just let her keep her accent. There's nothing about this character that's like, oh, this character has to be.
I'm sure there are Scottish witches, although I guess she's a demon.
It could be Scottish demons.
Yeah.
I mean, what's Loch Ness Monster if not some sort of old demon? I don't know.
I don't know. I've never imagined Loch Ness talking. So. But if they cast an American to play Nessie, I'll be very upset.
I mean, I would love to joke that it's like Godzilla, but Nessie predates nuclear, nuclear anything really,
Yeah.
of any kind. So, unfortunately, it
Wouldn't
can't be
that be
that.
like a leftover dinosaur or something?
Yeah, leftover dinosaur somehow survived. Yeah. That's the real Jurassic Park. He's got to Loch Ness. He's like, "Welcome to Jurassic Park."
That same Scottish accent as Mr. Hammond. Yeah.
At least he's
Who I
actually.
only just realized was Scottish because of you. Thanks.
Yeah, little tidbit here. I was streaming something and Tara happened to be in the chat, and I said I said a Hammond line from Jurassic Park, and she said, "Wait a minute, was Hammond Scottish? Because that sounded a lot like him." And I'm like,
Yeah,
"Yes,
like,
John
wow, you
Hammond
really
was
nailed
Scottish." Hello, John. Hello, John. Hello, John. Hello, John. Dino
Great.
DNA. Can't do that voice. That's not a Scottish voice.
No, that's Mr. DNA, which he calls D&E for some reason. Anyway, I'm babbling.
A baby dinosaur. Anyway, that has been the first episode of season 2 of Sabrina, Chilling Adventures of. So by all means, hopefully you had the fun with the chat, and we can talk about the developments throughout the season and where we might be going. But we'll try and keep these coming every other day. Hopefully we can stick to that schedule, so look forward to that. Let us know what you thought of this first episode in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the show and the channel and everything we do here, you can head over to patreon.com/mailedfuzztv, where you can support us for as little as $1 per month and get some bonuses, exclusives, get some stuff early, and go and have a look-see. As for promoting other things, if you like Tara on the show and you think, oh, that was a good conversation with this new person who's not been on a lot of content recently, we're starting a new sci-fi podcast very, very soon called The Ace, the Atomic Cinema Experiment, which me and Tara will be talking about old sci-fi movies, sometimes newer sci-fi movies too. But
very excited.
Excited, yes. She's a nervous wreck before she starts though. Like, seriously, every single time we're recording, she's like, I need another couple of minutes. I'm jittering here.
I just can't contain all my thoughts about science fiction. I get super nervous.
But that has been us. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?